You don't need superpowers to save the world. That's a sentiment that a handful of heroes in comics have taught their readers. Just because you aren't the Man of Steel who can leap tall buildings in a single bound does not mean that you can't make a difference. So in the spirit of that, we are counting down a list of the top 10 powerless superheroes who have saved the world. Now to be fair, many of these heroes have had the advantage of a genius level intellect and a lofty bank account, but hey, the ideology is a nice one, so let's not ruin that. Starting us off in at number 10, Green Arrow. Oliver Queen was initially criticized as being a ripoff of Batman, ironically, by the same publisher behind The Dark Knight. Ollie first appeared in 1941's More Fun Comics issue 73, existing as a Caped Crusader carbon copy, who even had a clown-themed foe who went by the name of Bullseye. But in 1969, he got an update thanks to Neil Adams and Dennis O'Neil, with Ollie getting his trademark Van Dyke beard and a new ideology in which he was an outspoken advocate of the underprivileged and the political left wing. He also lost his fortune. While Oliver Queen has arguably saved a lot of people before, one of the times that he's made a really big impact was in an alternate universe, specifically Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns. While he does not appear in the comic at length, he plays one of the most important roles in the story. Despite missing an arm, he shoots Superman with a kryptonite arrow, giving Batman an opportunity to fight the arguably corrupted Man of Steel in his crusade for a better tomorrow. Up next, number 9, Hindsight Lad. Hindsight Lad, aka Carlton Lafroig, is a character who often gets ripped on a whole lot. He initially became a superhero after blackmailing his neighbor Robbie Baldwin, the hero Speedball, with revealing his secret identity if he was not allowed in the New Warriors team. Robbie gave in, and Carlton donned the persona Hindsight Lad, which, yes, does not make a whole lot of sense for someone who fights crime. But despite this, when he was on the New Warriors team, he actually proved incredibly helpful, not only saving the team on several occasions, but also doing the world some good. He broke into a secret Hydra base, outsmarted the Pearl Sect, and then aided the New Warriors in defeating them. In at number 8, Adam Strange. Adam Strange is a fun character, and while he may not have saved the world that we call home, he has definitely saved the planet that he calls home many a time. And that's still counts, right? He first appeared in Showcase issue 17 in 1958. As an archaeologist who was suddenly transported from Peru to a completely different planet called Rann. Here he becomes the hero of Rann, using the planet's technology to protect it from extraterrestrial threats. He's very much a product of the Silver Age and the explosion of science fiction stories appearing in comics at that time. He wears a jetpack spacesuit that lets him fly and travel through space. He carries energy blast guns, can generate solid light equipment from his suit, and was given a pair of cloned eyes that allow him to see the whole electromagnetic spectrum. Quite the upgrade. In at 7, Nightwing. Aside from being born with a beautiful butt, Dick Grayson does not have superpowers. Sorry, firm buttocks do not technically count. The OG Robin, Dick Grayson, was trained by Bruce Wayne, learning from him not only how to kick some serious butt, lots of butt jokes in this, but how to use his mind to do it too. He may not be Bruce, but Bruce did teach him well. Aside from all of his adventures with the Caped Crusader where he actively participated in keeping the world safe, his solo efforts are not to be forgotten. From stepping in to occupy the Cowl after Bane had broken Batman's back, because the world in Gotham are screwed without Bruce, let's be honest, to tracking down bioweapons as an agent of Spiral, an interesting period of Dick's life. Dick is one of the most noble and good-hearted individuals in DC's roster of heroes, always doing what he can to make the world a better place. Gotta love a dude who is noble. And at number 6, Black Widow. Jumping into the MCU for this number, let's talk about Black Widow, and, spoiler alert, what she did in Avengers Endgame. I mean, you probably should have seen it by now, but still, spoilers abound. You've been warned. So in the latter half of the film, we see all of our beloved undusted heroes time travel to different time periods and places in order to collect the Infinity Stones as a means to reverse Thanos' snap and return the half of all living things that he obliterated. See what I mean about wanting to avoid spoilers? I'm basically just gonna tell you almost everything that happens. Natasha and Clint, aka Hawkeye, find themselves on Vormir, where the Soul Stone is being kept. But unknown to them, as we learned in Infinity War, in order to collect the Soul Stone, you need to sacrifice someone you love. Both of them duke it out to determine who will be the one to sacrifice themselves, all to save the world and bring back everyone who had been killed. And Natasha beats out Clint, sacrificing herself for the greater good. It was pretty tragic. And an ending for the character that caused a bit of uproar amongst devoted Black Widow fans. In at number 5, Iron Man. Iron Man's inclusion on this list kinda feels like cheating. Tony Stark, similar to a handful of other heroes that we'll be getting to later on, has brains and money. Lots of money. The combination of these two assets allow him to continue to build stronger and stronger versions of his Iron Man suit, his powered armor that gives him superhuman strength and durability, supersonic flight, regenerative life support, an energy repulsor and missile projector, and access to all of the other brilliant tech that he's crafted, including being tuned into whatever AI system he's currently running with. And ever since his bleeding edge armor, Tony has had the ability to store his suit within his bones, which can be assembled and controlled by his thoughts, although he does tend to use more conventional armors these days since Extremis has been removed. That being said, he has no innate superpowers. He wasn't born with powers, nor did he accumulate them. Rather, he created a suit that gave him those abilities. Regardless, while it's debatable if Tony should be on this list, he definitely is a superhero who has saved the world plenty of times, both in the comics and recently up on the big screen in Avengers Endgame. Up next, number 4, Hawkeye. Hawkeye is yet another Archer superhero on our list. Initially introduced as a reluctant villain in Tales of Suspense issue 57 in 1964, he would soon become an Avenger a year later, joining the team in Avengers issue 16. And while he saved many lives during his stint with the team, one of his most heroic victories was when he saved the Avengers from the Collector single-handedly, after they began to mysteriously disappear in Avengers 174 in 1978. Then he proceeds to work with them to defeat Korvac and save the Earth, despite Korvac kind of having humanity's best interests at heart the first time he showed up in Marvel's panels. But hey, that's still saving the world. In at number 3, Nick Fury. Nick Fury may not have superpowers, but dude has been saving the world since World War II. His first appearance in the comics was courtesy of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, a story called Sergeant Fury and His Howling Commandos, in which we see a grenade cause him to lose his eye. Eventually he was made a member of S.H.I.E.L.D., with him transitioning into more of a James Bond-esque spy character in Strange Tales issue 135 in 1965. Working with S.H.I.E.L.D., he did a lot for the planet, working to take down the international terrorist group Hydra and forming strategic alliances with superheroes. Eventually, after it's revealed that S.H.I.E.L.D. has been infiltrated by life model decoys called Deltites, he rebuilds S.H.I.E.L.D. from the ground up. And we'll leave it at that because we really don't want to get into original sin. In at number 2, OZYMANDIAS. Okay, yes, Adrian Veidt from Watchmen is technically a villain, although you could argue that he's merely a hero who took extreme measures for the greater good. Much of the morality of the vigilantes in Watchmen is characterized by gray areas and ethics. It's one of the reasons why Watchmen was praised as subverting the comic book art form, turning the graphic novel into thought-provoking literature, according to some critics who clearly could use a history lesson or two pertaining to the medium, just saying. Huffy Puffy aside, Ozymandias is a character who manages to do what no one else could. He ends the energy crisis, he prevents a nuclear war that could irrevocably damage the planet and humanity, and he creates world peace, all without taking any credit, minus gloating to his fellow crime busters. Rorschach cannot live with that, or the fact that his peers won't expose Veidt after realizing the extent of good that his crimes have caused, so Dr. Manhattan kills him. Regardless, Veidt has no superpowers, only a genius-level intellect and a crap ton of money that said smarts helped him acquire with his own business, Veidt Industries. And last but not least, in at number 1, the most obvious superhero who has no powers, Batman. Bruce Wayne has no superpowers. Much like our last number, dude is all smarts and cash dollars. But unlike our last number, Batman has a code of honor that he follows religiously. He does not kill. We'll let those early issues of Detective Comics slide. It was the golden age after all. This man, who rubs shoulders with the superpowered members of the Justice League and is arguably more competent than a handful of them combined, has managed to save the world over and over and over again, even from some of those very Justice League members whenever they dabbled in villainy, often unintentionally. There's a laundry list of times that he's done the deed. JLA, New World Order, Crisis on Two Earths, Kingdom Come, Flashpoint, and so much more, including times where he's worked as a member of a team to save the world. And the multiverse too. He is in the big leagues after all. And that is something pretty darn special. Alright, there we have it friends. What other powerless superheroes can you think of? Give us a shout in those comments below and let us know. If you dug this video, spread that love, hit that like button, and be sure to subscribe to Top 10 Nerd if you haven't already. We'd love it if you became a member of the Nerd Squad and hung out with us a bit more. In the meantime though, thanks for watching friends. I'll catch you all in the next one.